Hello everyone, this week we'll be talking, or not this week, but this video we'll be talking about this sneaky Frenchman. Yes, we all know who it is. It is the spy from Team Fortress 2. The person that annoys you by backstabbing you all the time when you aren't looking. Or something like that. And they're especially annoying to new players. like that amateur spy that decided to go invisible on me. It's like, oh, you didn't see me and I'm only using a knife and I don't have a revolver or anything. Yeah, something like that. Anyways, the first two weapons I'll be talking about is the Dead Ringer and the Big Earner. So, the Big Earner, I'll tell about this one first, is that it got buffed in the update. Is that whenever you backstab someone, you get a 3-second speed boost gain. And while the Big Earner in the first place wasn't that good of a weapon, you backstab someone, you get 15% more cloak, and that costs you 25 of your max HP. So your HP gauge went from 125 to just 100. And if you think about it, 100 HP can get killed pretty easily because a lot of things can kill things can kill you at 100 HP. And I don't know what that sniper was thinking. Like, really? You just saw a spy sap a teleporter and all, and really? I don't know what's happening in this game. And here I screw up as well. So yeah, so now the Big Earner has a 3-second speed boost on kill. So like if I was more smooth in that situation, when I backstab that sniper and I switched to my sapper, I would have been able to rush over to that mini sentry before it killed me, which would be really good. However, that's actually a very situational situation, and it doesn't happen that often. So as a result, the Big Earner's plus 3-second speed boost gain on kill isn't that practical. I mean, sure, it's a better weapon now and all, but it's still not that reliable. However, if I were to use the Big Earner, I would use it with the Dead Ringer and or the Cloak and Dagger, because if you remember from my sentry gun. If you remember from my loadouts video, I do like to use the Big Earner with the Cloak and Dagger because of its slow recharge rate. Though that was changed in the recent update as well, but I'll talk about that later. Now, is a Big Earner a good weapon? In my personal opinion, I believe it could be better because of the 100 HP problem. Like, a lot of things can kill you within 100 HP. The Scout's scatter gun, the soldier's rocket to the face. A pyro can kill you any day, but you got my point. Anything can kill you almost anything can kill you within one shot at this point. And what is a good paired up? Well, as I said before, the Dead Ringer with it is pretty good, and the Cloak and Dagger is also pretty good with it. However, depending on which watch you use, you should consider your revolver, but I'm gonna do that when I actually talk about the watches themselves. Alright. The next weapon I'll be talking about is the Dead Ringer, the watch that everybody thought was OP as fuck, and Valve finally decided to nerf it. And the Dead Ringer got nerfed hard, even worse than the mini sentry for the engineer. Now, whenever you fake a death, you actually lose 50% of your cloak meter. That is significant. And also, in addition to that, whenever you're cloaked, your drain rate increases, and that's actually 10 times worse than it was before, because before your drain rate didn't increase that much, especially if you had the Latron grade. But in the end, it's now a lot, and I derped up here. So yeah, that was a bad thing. Now, the regen rate whenever you recharge a Dead Ringer on your own, or on its own, is increased or decreased from 80% to 50%. So that means that you use the Dead Ringer much less often if you're using it alone without any other weapons that grant you cloaks. And also, the damage resistance was decreased from 90% to only 80%. Well, not 80%. It changed from 90% to 65%. Sorry, I don't know why I'm dripping up today. And over time, it falls down back to only 20%. So while you're cloaked, you take less damage initially, but then afterwards you start to take a lot more. And that's actually quite bad in my opinion, because, well, why don't you want to take less damage than usual? Also, after the 3 seconds of the initial activation of your Dead Ringer, you get like the shimmer effect. So whenever you bump into a spy that doesn't have the Dead Ringer before, but you see the fact that he's like on a different team, and he shimmers. Now, and before the Dead Ringer didn't do that ever, and now Dead Ringer does that after 3 seconds. And also, last but not least, one of the most impacting thing on this is that you can no longer pick up metal packs whenever you're invisible, which means that you can't extend your cloak while we're invisible, and that makes for a lot of complications, to say the least. And now, good weapons. Is this a good weapon? Well, yeah, it's still a good weapon, but the thing is, it's not a good weapon on its own anymore. You have to have a good loadout combination so it can be made into a good weapon. For example, a good loadout with this is a L'Étranger, the Big Earner, and the Dead Ringer. L'Étranger is good with it is because every single time you hit someone with it, you get cloak boost. Whenever you backstab someone with what's it called, Big Earner, you also get a cloak boost. So that basically nullifies the effect that the Dead Ringer recharges slower than before. And yeah, that's a good loadout, but the thing is, other than that though, it doesn't really change about how bad each weapon are separately. So I find the Dead Ringer good with those two weapons. I have seen other people use different loadouts, but I haven't been able to recreate it. So as far as I know, the L'Étranger, the Big Earner, and the Dead Ringer is a good combination. And that's what makes the Dead Ringer a good weapon. Because, you know, good weapon combinations. And I derped up there. Alright, the next weapon I'll be talking about is the Spicicle. And I used the Spicicle with the Dead Ringer before because, as we all know before, the Dead Ringer and the Spicicle together in one loadout was very OP because anti-pyros everywhere. Now, what changed was that before, whenever you got lit on fire, you got 3 seconds of fire immunity, but now, whenever you get lit on fire, you get 1 second for fire immunity and 10 seconds of afterburn immunity. So essentially, during those 10 seconds, you can still be killed by fire, but the thing is, well, you just don't get afterburn. So if you're lucky enough to escape a pyro, then you're guaranteed yourself that you won't die from his afterburn, but that's very rare, and that's also very situational because of that. And I bumped into the scout, and he was like, "What the fuck?" Anyways, other than that, the Spicicle also got the remove the silent killer perk. So now, whenever you kill someone, everybody knows what you've done. Before, that wasn't the case. So essentially, you could get behind everyone, backstab an entire team, and then the entire team would know what happened when they all respawn. Now, when you backstab someone, if you backstab someone, the entire enemy team would actually notice that you backstab someone. But whether or not they actually react to you, well, that's up to their choice. But if you're being like hyper competitive and stuff, then the enemy probably would see you and stuff, backstabbing people. However, something that was good is that the Spicicle now recharges. The Spicicle, whenever you get lit on fire and you use the Spicicle to extinguish yourself, the Spicicle needs 15 seconds to recharge. Now, if you pick up ammo boxes, it reduces that timer. So that's a really good buff, especially if you want to, especially if you're in a server with a lot of pyros and you want to kill them as spy for some reason. I don't know why I would do that. I would just change classes, but whatever. Anyways, is the Spicicle still a good weapon? I guess it's in my opinion, it got nerfed to a point where it went from a good weapon to just a decent weapon. It's just okay now, but if you get it with the right loadouts and all, then I'm sure you'll do well with it. And some good loadouts I know for this is some of the ones that I use myself, such as the Diamondback Revolver, the Spicicle, and the stock Invisi-Watch. I find that they're all good together, and I'll tell you why later when I do the Invisi-Watch. The Invisi-Watch in this recent update got buffed a lot. So before, whenever you went invisible, the damage you would take normally would also apply to whenever you were invisible. So let's say you take like 100 damage when you are normally not invisible, then yes, you would get 100 damage. Yes, you would get 100 damage, but let's say you did go invisible later, and you take that same 100 damage, well, you'll still take 100 damage. Now, in this update, whenever you go invisible, you actually do get 20% damage resistance. So when you're uninvisible, and you take let's say 100 damage again, you take 100 damage. But when you're invisible, you only take 80 damage. And that's actually a very big, significant thing. And here I miss all my shots because I'm too impatient. And I get killed. And I lost all my crits on my Diamondback. No! So now, is the Invisi-Watch a good watch? Well, it's been a good watch before, but now it's even better. In fact, to a point where I actually almost value the Invisi-Watch over the Dead Ringer at this point, which I find pretty surprising because I don't usually think that. But some good loadouts with this. Well, as I told you earlier, the Spicicle, Invisi-Watch, and the Diamondback all work well together because, well, think of it like this. The Diamondback stores crits for every person you backstab and every building you destroyed. So with the stock Invisi-Watch, you can get behind them because the stock Invisi-Watch actually cloaks for a very long time, surprisingly. But you can get behind them, and then you can backstab, say, some snipers and then an engineer, then sap their stuff, and you get a whole ton of crits to spend on the other team if you get into an emergency situation with a Diamondback. And you can kill a lot of people with this loadout, and it's very powerful. And yeah, that'll be it for the stock Invisi-Watch. The last weapon I'll be talking about is the Cloak and Dagger. The Cloak and Dagger before said that whenever you just can't pick up ammo boxes to refill your cloak. And that was very different from both the Dead Ringer and the Invisiwatch at the time. In this update, you can now pick up ammo boxes when you are visible, but when you're cloaked, you cannot pick it up. So this allows for some interesting strategy, because say you just camp here like me, and then you go over to the car and backstab some people, and then you realize that while you were moving invisible, you lost all your cloak. So you can go to where ammo boxes, pick up that ammo box, and boom, you got your cloak back. However, the previous disadvantage of the cloak and dagger having a really slow recharge rate has remained, and as I said earlier, I like to use the big earner for this. And since it's my camper's loadout, you all know that I also like to use Ambassador, because sniping with the spy for the win. Ouch. Sorry, soldier. I actually do feel sorry for you. And the cloak and dagger and because of this thing where you can now pick up ammo boxes to refill your cloak thing, this has definitely been an update. And here I'm just hiding from the pyros, and I'm also showing you that you can cover more ground if you crouch and move. And then yeah, I just did it there where I briefly went invisible for 1 second, and then I picked up that ammo box and got like 50% of my cloak back. So yeah, this weapon allows for some interesting strategies now, and it's a better weapon now, so give this weapon a go. And some good loadouts with this. Well, I already told you one of them, and that would be the Ambassador, the cloak and dagger, and the big earner. You can also switch out the Ambassador for the L'Étranger if you feel like the cloak and dagger's recharge rate is still too slow. But since this is my camper's loadout, I actually feel like that since I camp so much with this loadout, I actually don't really run out of cloak meter, and as far as I know, that's actually fine for me. And I don't know what that sniper was doing. Surely he would have seen this one inconspicuous derpy spy around, and then that scout picks it up and give him credit for chasing me off. But other than that, he's okay, I guess. Anyways, that was my spy new weapons from this gunmetal update. Check out other YouTubers about their opinions on these weapons and experiment. Check out the wiki, because as I said before, my loadouts aren't your loadouts and my playstyles aren't your playstyles. So check out everything. And for someone really good with spy, I actually recommend Mr. Paladin, which is a really good spy YouTuber, and he has a lot of tips and tricks after the new gunmetal update as well. So be sure to check him out. And in the meantime, as you can see, this will be my last gunmetal update video. And after this, I plan on going back to, say, like Friendly Heavy, and maybe even starting a new series. Who knows? Anyways, that'll be it for this video, and I'll see you in the next one.